What's up everyone, registered dietitian Kara Corey here, and welcome back for another healthy recipe. Today what I'm going to show you how to make is a peanut butter fluff that's high in protein and has great health benefits. So first I want to talk about one of the main ingredients we're going to use in today's recipe, which is going to be tofu. And I know some of you may not be used to tofu. I think a lot of people are scared to cook or use tofu in recipes because they don't know what to do with it, or they're under the misconception that it doesn't taste good. Well, tofu honestly is like a sponge, and it's essentially tasteless in my opinion. So you can actually flavor it to taste like anything you want. But the key with tofu and having it either cook or bake or blend right is pressing out the water from the tofu, because it's like a sponge and it's got a lot of water absorbed in there. So that's one of the steps that we're gonna take today with making this recipe. So you may not be vegan, you may not be vegetarian, but tofu is still great to incorporate into your diet on occasion. It's got 8 essential amino acids and also has a lot of good other micronutrients. It's got manganese, selenium, zinc, calcium, all those heart healthy things that are going to keep your heart healthy, obviously. So for today's recipe, all you're going to need to actually do this recipe is a blender. What you're going to want to purchase is some extra firm tofu. I already ripped it open. Tofu can sometimes be hard to find in the grocery store. Usually you're going to find it in the produce section, which sounds kind of odd, but a lot of times the produce section is where they have a lot of the vegetarian options, so usually near the mushrooms for whatever reason. That's what I was told today. So just buy any kind of extra firm tofu, and what you're going to do is pull it out, and it's going to be in a big block. And what you're going to see here is that I've already gone ahead and I cut it in half and then sliced it into chunks. And the reason why I did that is because it's just going to be easier to kind of press it and get all the liquid out of it. You may even be able to tell on camera this paper towel has already absorbed a lot of the fluid, but what we're going to do and what you're going to need to do, probably the most time consuming part, but not really time consuming, is take some paper towels and just truly press. You're probably going to be able to see it absorb in there. Use those gains to press into the paper towels and absorb as much liquid as possible. So before we get going, just make sure you do this a few times, or if you have a cheesecloth laying around, you can use that as well to really squeeze out as much of the liquid. Squishing. So I just keep adding on the paper towels and squeezing it out. Basically just want to keep going until when you press down and squeeze it, you're not getting any more fluid out of the tofu. So once you've got your tofu all squeezed out, we're just going to go ahead and add that to our blender. So now that we've added the whole container in there, next thing I'm going to add is the liquid ingredients. And today I'm going to use an unsweetened almond milk. I've got poured out here 1 3/4 cup. So I'm just going to go ahead and dump that in there. Now to make this high in protein and add that peanut butter flavor, I'm going to use the MTS Whey and peanut butter fluff. If you don't have this, then you could go ahead and use vanilla protein, or PB cookies and cream would be good as well. I'm going to add 1.5 scoops of protein. Just eyeball it. Next ingredient I'm going to add, and this is going to give it that much more of a peanut butter flavor, and if you're using a vanilla whey protein, this will help give it that peanut butter flavor. This is just a powdered peanut butter. You could use any variety. This happens to be my favorite brand of it though, the Peanut Butter & Co. And vanilla is super titties, and there's your nutritionals on that powdered peanut butter. So I'm going to go ahead and add a couple heaping tablespoons. And again, I'm not measuring it precisely because that's just not how I roll. We're gonna put 2 scoops of that in there. And last couple of things here, I'm gonna add a little bit of pink Himalayan salt. 1 good grind on top of there. I've got in here pure vanilla extract. I'm gonna add about a couple teaspoons of that in here, just for some extra flavoring. Teaspoons. And then for sweetness, your protein powder is going to add some sweetness, but I'm going to add a little bit of this better stevia and English toffee. Doesn't really matter what flavor, you can just add any flavor you have, or you can just use regular sweetener. You can use stevia, Splenda, honey, you name it. Just a little bit of that in there. So now we're all set to go. I'm gonna go ahead and blend this up. The key is gonna be blending it completely. So you're really not going to over blend this in a way that will affect how it tastes. So you just wanna make sure you blend it enough. If you don't blend it enough, it won't taste as good. You really wanna get all the tofu and everything blended nice and smooth and creamy. All right, guys, I went ahead and stopped the blender halfway through to taste it, check the sweetness, check the consistency, and I wanted it a little bit thicker, so I threw in 2 more scoops of my MTS peanut butter fluff, and that seemed to get the right thickness for what I like. So this recipe makes a big ass thing of mousse, huge thing of it. So this will last you for a few portions. I'm gonna go ahead and get that, how creamy that is. Delicious. I'm gonna top it with just a little bit of whipped cream. You don't have to do that, it's optional. This is a delicious, high protein mousse. You guys are gonna love it. You would have no idea that there's tofu in there and that there's health benefits for you. And it's actually pretty easy, so don't be scared. Pick yourself up some tofu now. Let's give this a try. So good. Super titties, approved. You guys are gonna love this recipe. Give it a try. We'll see you in the next one.